Hey, what's up? Dion speaking. We're back here in the Content Parlor studio with a super special episode. We got somebody who's only in town for a couple of days. We're interviewing them. We got some acting. We got some creativity. We got to bring you guys the best talent in the world. I'm super excited for this episode. But you know what? Enough talking. Let's just get right to it.
We did some research with the last movie you just turned down, and you have officially turned down more work than any actor in Hollywood. I said, how can you gauge that? He said, man, we took all the projects that you turned down or walked away from, and we tracked it, and it was $800 million in 31 years.
Wow.
Dang. What does that look like? Like knowing you want to be an actor in Omaha, Nebraska since 8 years old.
That moment I said, Mom, Dad, I want to be an actor, and they said, you can't be. First of all, I was like, yes, I can. Second of all, I wanted to make sure no 8-year-old in Nebraska ever had to have that said to them. Yeah, it's been around. It's just now the words of artificial intelligence are coming out. But all that stuff, to me, is still used to just scare people.
Yeah,
The writers got anything to fear?
No, man. If writers learn how to utilize it, here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's still your idea. It's still your words.
All right, welcome back to the Content Parlor. I'm your host, Dion speaking, coming right here out of the Content Parlor studio in Omaha, Nebraska. As you can see, we've got a special guest today doing big things. The LA to Omaha connection is here. All right, so we're gonna get right into it. The Content Parlor is a social club for content creators. This space that you are seeing is available for rent. So the equipment, the space, and the rental capacity is on full swing right here in North Omaha. Our goal is to empower content creators to tell their story better and not have the resources be a barrier to that. All right, let's do a little round introductions. Dion, you can find me on social media, dion.api. All the way on the far end, we've got my co-founder, president, Stable Gray. Oh, you should introduce yourself.
Like you took all my speaking parts. Teddy Young, co-founder, Content Parlor, and Stable Gray.
And I guess I'm the special guest.
Yeah.
Special guest.
Randy J Goodwin, born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, so sorry to interrupt. Can you take a look at this script?
Are you serious? Right in the middle. Who wrote it?
It's really important. Sally J. Walker and John Stanfield.
Oh, I love Sally and John. Absolutely.
What is going on?
Oh, it's the Nate Love auto. Okay, yes, absolutely. Put that on the pile, please. Thank you.
Man, we are trying to.
Man,
Hey, this could be a movie you might be in.
Oh, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. So we're going to get a deep dive into everything that's going on. We've obviously heard about the big news of you getting funding to bring a legit acting studio to Omaha, Nebraska. So first of all, congratulations on that. We're proud, not just from an Omaha standpoint, but from the creative community as well, to see people move the community forward. So before we get into the formal questions, let's just get a little bit of background on you. How did you get into this space, and what do you see your fallen giant being for Omaha?
Well, I got into the space. Man, God built me for this. 8 years old, I always wanted to be an actor. Done very well. Been out in LA for 31 years. After, high school here, college here, military, and then it was just everyone trying to steer me away from it. They were not going to deter me. So I went. I got to Hollywood in '94 after my boy Shade again. Got me into stand-up comedy, and the bug was biting hard. So there was no way I wasn't going to do it. And I got out there. I was homeless for a while. But even then, I could have come home like a lot of people do. Millions come and millions go. Mm-hmm. But I was like, no, you built me for this. I'm sticking this out. And within 2 years of being there, I got my first TV series as a series regular. It was interesting because I just didn't do it the same way as everybody else. You know, I didn't just get there and start getting headshots and go find an agent and a manager. And no, Christophe St. John, who was one of my closest friends of all time, he passed away a couple years ago. But he played Neil in The Young and the Restless. My first roommate out there, the only person I knew besides Troy Allen. Troy Allen was at 20th Century Fox. He was an exec over there. And Troy, Christoph started introducing me to everybody. Will Smith, Morris Chestnut, a lot of the people from the soaps, the big producers, because he wasn't shaken by the fact that we looked like brothers. People thought we were like competition. But he was like, no, man, this is Randy. Randy's cool. And he took me everywhere. And just getting to know people, that really helped, you know. But I also got there and I drew a line in the sand. I don't do nonsense. I don't do graphic sex. I don't play roles that I don't want to play. And that has deterred me a little bit in certain areas. Well, at least they think it has. You know, they're like, you could have gotten there faster. But I won't do dirt.
Right.
I'm not drinking with you. I'm not partying with you. I've been invited to the Diddy parties and the Jamie Foxx parties, and I say no. It's not my thing.
Okay.
You know, I've stayed away from it.
No Diddy.
No weed. No, I've never done drugs. It's not my thing. And because of that, a lot of people in Hollywood won't hire me. You know, they want you to have the same dirt on you that they have on them. Because then you can't tell on their dirt, you know, or whatever it may be. That wasn't my thing, so I had to take a different route, and that route worked for me. And I'm known as that guy in Hollywood who has morals and values from the Midwest, that Christian dude that will say no, and if you present the wrong thing to him, knowing his stance, you probably get knocked out. I mean, that's kind of funny that became my reputation, and I wasn't trying. It just. I don't play. You step in my face and say something stupid to get a role, and I go, "Who do you think you're talking to, man?
Yeah.
You've been man up before you get knocked out." And you know, I've done that in the beginning, and I was like, "Let me calm down a little bit and not be Nebraska Randy for a minute." But they got the message.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then my first show. Larry Gelbart, the creator of MASH, was the executive producer. Tristan Rogers, General Hospital. He played Robert Scorpio all those years, and he was voices for the Rescuers Down Under. I mean, he's done a lot. He's from Australia. He was he actually created the show. He was a real race car driver, and I played like the first black NASCAR driver. That was kind of cool, yeah. And Keith Carradine, the Carradine family, David Carradine, all them, and then Larry Gelbart, being that dude, brought I met so many legends. Fred the Hammer Williamson was on the show, and it was an awesome thing for a dude in his mid-20s, right? Yeah. Working with legends that you've been watching. And then from there, it just took off, man. They saw me on that, and then my phone started ringing. Agents, managers, lawyers. Next thing you know, I have the triangle, agent, manager, lawyer. That's your thing. You need those. And they would just keep pushing for me. And next thing you know, man, I mean, people are calling. Calling all the time. And never stop. Years ago, my manager, Adam, came to me and said, "Hey, we did some research with the last movie you just turned down, and you have officially turned down more work than any actor in Hollywood."
Oh, wow.
I laughed because I laughed, and I went, and he goes, "No, we're serious." I said, "How can you gauge that?" He said, "Man, we took all the projects that you turned down or walked away from, and we looked at who was still in that role or which ones made it and which ones didn't and which ones made the most money and the role that they wanted you to play and who's in it. And we tracked it, and it was $800 million in 31 years.
Wow.
Dang.
I don't regret it.
Yeah.
I don't. I've done all right, doing it the right way, because a lot of those people that are in those roles, I know their lives behind the camera. I know that they're miserable because they gave in to get it.
That's real talk.
So
Right on. You touched on it a little bit, but I want to back up. You said you knew ever since you were 8 years old that you wanted to be actor. So what does that look like? Like knowing you want to be an actor in Omaha, Nebraska since 8 years old. Like what do you do? What's that path?
I had to forge it, which is why I'm back. Because I was that 8-year-old kid and I said, Mom, Dad, I want to be an actor. And they were like, well, you can't be an actor. Didn't even entertain it. Well, you can't be an actor. That's Hollywood. They're corrupt out there. You know, we're Nebraskans. We do practical.
Right.
You're going to school for architecture.
Ah.
And I love architecture. I love buildings. I love structures. I love plans. Love drafting. I ain't an architect.
Right on.
Not of buildings anyway. Mm-hmm. I believe I'm an architect of what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm here to build this industry. But I couldn't walk away from it, man. I got in trouble a few times because over the years I would sneak off and do talent shows.
Okay.
I'd have to sneak and do it because
Right on,
we
that's
also
what
grew
I'm
up in a
like.
very strict church household. You can't.
Okay.
I lied a few times. I gotta work at school. You know, we Creighton prep dudes. And
Yeah.
I'm in the 9th grade, and I'm like, Mama, Dad, don't pick me up after football practice because I got to do some work with, Father Kenny real quick. And then I'm off, and do my little talent shows and stuff, man. Auditioning people for it back then. Did Thriller up in Northwest. Auditioned my brother Brian. He was a senior, and we did that on their stage. Just all kinds of stuff. I could not just walk away from it. Mm-hmm. And then, got down to Lincoln. I'm going to school for Lincoln, architecture down at UNL in the Kappa Sig fraternity. Me and my boys, Todd and them cats I went to prep with. And I was afraid to walk away from it. Mm. It was so much ingrained in me that I couldn't walk away, even when I was threatened by my parents.
Yeah, right on.
Not threatened in a bad way, but they're like, you need something to fall back on. You need this. You need to do that. And acting is just not going to work for you. Mm-hmm. I remember at 17, I said to my mom, we talked. She goes, Brand, you got to be in the top 1% of working actors to even make a living. I said, Mom, I am in the top 1%. And she said, I know you're talented, but, and I went, okay, let's jump to 2004. Mm. I moved to LA in 94. Mm-hmm. By 96, I had my first TV series on Showtime called Fast Track, where I played Kennedy Winslow, NASCAR driver. From there, I got offered a role on the show Lynx on Showtime. Pam Grier, Tim Reed from WKRP in Cincinnati, via Flytrap. He created that show along with other shows, Frank's Place and all. Great dude. Well, I didn't want to do that show because I had just come back from Toronto shooting Fast Track for Showtime. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to shoot outside of LA. I wanted to shoot in LA. Mm-hmm. My first show took me away. Second show would have taken me to Virginia. So I said no. And then I booked another show called Hyperion Bay with my boy Bart Johnson. And that was a good show for a minute until they brought on Carmen Electra. Uh-oh. And then it just went downhill. And then, so I was working. Basically, I'm saying this to say I was working. So in 2004, when I had a hiatus from a show that I was doing for CBS show called Abby with Sidney Poitier's daughter, Sydney. That's where I got to know Sidney Poitier himself, and he became like a mentor to me. Oh, right. Talked to me about raising girls and all this. I mean, he's a great guy. Yeah. Again, I don't know anybody who's worked with more or got to hang out with more legends than I have.
Yeah, that's
right. As a young dude growing up, yeah, huge blessing. Because the knowledge that they would just dispense was incredible.
Okay.
But after that show, I came back on hiatus that summer, and that's when I did those 4 workshops, 4 weekends in a row. And I remember my mom and some people came down to the first one, and I was telling the story, and I said, I got to that 1% thing that she said, mm-hmm. And then I turned and she was sitting like the 10th row over here. I'm talking to all these people, and I go, and I'm proud to say that for the last 6 years, I've been in the top 1% of working actors. And she goes,
all right.
gave a head nod.
I'm proud.
But, and I know her keeping me out of the business wasn't her trying to keep me out for any other reason than protection.
Sure,
right.
Sure.
It is a terrible business. It's crazy. People do so much dirt in this industry that it's a wonder that somebody like me can work.
Right. So that leads me to the next question. It's like, what are some of the misconceptions?
For a young actor trying to get in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you also touched on like you were mentored by a lot of legends, but then you say, there's a lot of shady
Well,
business
when I
too.
say I wasn't mentored by a lot of legends, I knew them, and we would get together on personal levels more than anything. There's some really good people, but see, it's from the old school.
Okay.
The old school of Hollywood was a little different. Yeah, there was some dirt. Yeah, there's people who did some stuff. They hid some stuff. They put who they want in there. There's always the casting couch. That's never going to change. It's just gotten worse. So that's not saying there aren't good people. That's saying that it's highly skewed. And right now, I'd say 80-20. 80-20. I can count on 20% to still take care of me and make sure that I get the stuff that I want to do without having to compromise my morals and values. They reach out. I got a call. I ran into a producer one day. It was 12 years ago. He goes, yo, man, your name came up at the studio today. I'm not going to say the studio, Warner Brothers, but he said, he said, your name came up at the studio, man, and it was a big movie, and everybody was like, yo, Randy Goodwin, Randy. Everybody said, yeah, Randy would kill it. But the big dog said, yeah, I know Randy. He won't drink with me. I don't trust him. I don't trust a man who won't drink with me. Well, this producer explained what that meant, because that's the first time that had happened to me, that I knew of. He said, because you won't drink, there's no chance of you ever getting drunk. There's no chance of you ever getting your drink spiked. There's no chance of you ever doing something that'll put you in a compromising position so that they can say, we got him.
Yeah.
This is the producer telling me this from the studio.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I went, man, that stuff really happens, huh? He goes, more than you know. Now, I won't say his name. Yeah, wait.
I was like,
No.
Yeah.
I won't out him.
okay. Right
Because
on.
there are also a lot of people who really take care of each other. And for him to tell me that, he could have lost his job if I would have opened my mouth.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely a community feel. So unpack this a little bit for me. You kind of described these moments where you're meeting these legends. I mean, you've mentioned some names here, Michael Beach, and many more figures like that. I'm not the person to name names, but describe what it's like keeping your composure when you're acting among these people that you saw on TV, either growing up or in television prior to your career. How do you keep your composure as a young actor?
Because I've never gone to school for any of this. I mean, literally, I've never set foot in a classroom, pulled up a video. I was just always a very inquisitive, intuitive. I watch people. I'm a people watcher, man. I like going to the coffee shop, Coffee Bean in Hollywood, sitting at Witsit and Ventura Boulevard, not far from the house, and I would just sit at the Coffee Bean on the street and just watch people walk by me, and I would just watch them and go, the way that dude's sitting. And I would just kind of morph into it, be like, I'd change the look of my face and do weird stuff that they're doing. And I would just watch and I'd say, the way that dude's sitting there. And I would just sit and watch people and just do different things, man, and see how people would respond to me.
Wow.
That was my education. I'm not saying I didn't learn, but I learned my way. So I didn't go to class. I didn't get into it. So when I first got on set, my thing was, I've never been on a real set.
Wow.
So I just watched. But I'll tell you, the first time I walked on, I wasn't terrified, but man, I was a little afraid when I stepped on it, because I was like, what if they realize I'm new?
Right.
And then I walked on, I went, of course they know I'm new, at least the people who brought me on. But then, like I said, I'm on there with Keith Carradine. I'm on there with dudes, man. We've been watching Kung Fu and all that stuff growing up. And I was like, so I acted like I've been there before. But I also believed in my head and in my heart that I was the best actor in Hollywood. I walked in that way. I walked in saying, I will be the next Sidney Poitier. I walked in saying it, and I still believe it. But you know, with the Morrises and the Taye Diggs and all these guys that continue to work, Hollywood goes after a specific type. They put you in. But if you have talent and you're persistent, they can't deny you. But they can keep you out of certain projects because, like, this is my project. I don't want him in it. He won't drink with me, kind of thing. But like I said, holding to my beliefs, I have still made it.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you now, you will see one day after this interview, you're going to go, man, dude said he was going to be the number one. Watch.
I believe it.
I will.
I remember when we first met a few years ago at I think it was at the Chamber event.
Yeah.
I met. And
I'm sorry, I remember saying some things on the.
You remember that?
Yeah.
you know, because people say crazy, they say crazy
Like, hold
things,
on.
right? And I just remember just being like, no, he's serious.
Yeah.
No, he's serious. And then I looked you up, you know,
Right.
because you already had, you know, your IMDb and, you know, those types of things. It was already rolling, right? Because this is well past, you know, your first gig. And I'm like, oh no, he's serious. Yeah, he's serious. And then we get the announcement that the funds are coming in. It's like I think we've got our icon for this space. You know, that's the sense that I got. So, you know, just expanding on that with the Fallen Giant. What made you decide? Because at this point, you know, you have your career, you decades in, you've met the people, you know how the industry works. Why bring it back to Omaha? What's the purpose of that specifically?
Because of that moment. That moment, I said, Mom, Dad, I want to be an actor. And they said, you can't be. First of all, I was like, yes, I can. Second of all, I wanted to make sure no 8-year-old in Nebraska ever had to have that said to them. I will make sure. I wish. So, okay, the seminars when I came in were called Navigating Hollywood with Integrity and What I Wish I Knew. And that what I wish I knew, one of the main components of it is I wish I knew me back then so that I could help me. So I wanted to make sure that every 8-year-old had me to help them.
That's excellent.
So, and not just 8 years, you know, old, anybody,
Yeah.
either one of you, anyone in this room who wants to be an actor, not just an actor. You want to be a cinematographer. You want to learn sound. You want to learn mixing. You want to be an editor. You want to build sets. You know, you want to be a rigger, a gaffer. You can be anything in this business. There are so many jobs. I'm just the face that everybody wants to see, but there's 100 people behind me. I'm nothing without that 100 people.
Right.
So I wanted to come back and educate 100 people for every project we have.
That's
And,
excellent.
and if I have it my way, that's 1,000 people right there because I want 10 projects going on at the same time.
Yeah.
At all times, which is going to bring so much revenue to the state, which is going to create so many job opportunities.
Right.
I mean, to retain the young people that want to leave, I mean, where you going?
Right.
Hollywood's
That's key.
falling apart, man. And there's a lot of other locations. My boy Cat Williams, he just bought an old Army base, building the studio.
Oh, wow.
Tyler, he
Yep. Down in Atlanta.
he did the same thing, but then he sold that and built
Yeah,
the
the
big
second
boy.
one, yeah.
My boy Michael J. White has one on the East Coast. I got my dudes Mel Gibson. I love Mel. Mel Gibson and Mark Wahlberg just partnered with Sony. They're building a $2 billion studio in Nevada. I mean, people are going everywhere. Taylor Sheridan, he left L.A. for Texas, where he's from, and look what he's doing down there. Man, he's basically the king of Paramount Plus right now.
It's big time.
So there is space to shoot outside of there. Hollywood, what most people don't realize isn't a place. Yes, there's the city of Hollywood there, but Hollywood it's a business that can operate anywhere. It's like Fallen Giant can operate anywhere. We can shoot anywhere. I can hire anybody from any corner of the world and still be Fallen Giant. It's just Fallen Giant is out of Omaha, Nebraska, which is where I always wanted it to be. I always wanted to come home. I love my state, man. I love my city. I'd rather be from no other country, no other state, no other city. I love Omaha, and I had to come back to take care of my people. Everybody, all the young people, they're my kids, they're my nieces, they're my nephews.
Yeah.
You know, what can I do? Yes, I'm in LA and I'm in Toronto and I'm wherever shooting whatever, and I'm making my money. What's that do for my friends who have their kids who want to be in the business?
Right.
What's that doing for my brothers who have kids, my nieces and nephews, when they say, well, I would love to try acting. Well, they would only have the stage
Right.
here. And
Maybe a camera.
maybe. And the stage, I love the stage. I don't do much stage because there's a reason. I was sitting with Mike Yanni and there's some other very well-known and well-to-do, powerful people in this city. And when I sit with them, I ask them all the same question, and it's the same response. I go, why do you give hundreds of millions of dollars in endowments to the arts? Oh, well, we need them. I go, yeah, but why? Well, we need the arts. I go, yes, we do. Arts are awesome. But why do you have to give hundreds of millions every year to the arts? Well, Randy, because we have to them. I go, but why? and it always gets to a point where I keep doing that.
Right.
And they start getting frustrated. I remember Mike finally he just goes, I mean, what are you saying? I go, why do you have to get, why do you get, he goes, because they don't make, I go, say it. Because they don't make money. I go, bingo. But you know what part of the arts does? Film and television. But yet none of you ever want to give us hundreds of millions of dollars in endowments every year. And I told him, if you gave me $100 million, you'd never have to give it to me again because I'd make $1 billion. Because we get returns on this.
Right.
The stage does not get returns, and those young people who are on stage want to get to where I am.
Yeah.
They want to use that so they can make money.
That's
They
true.
want to earn a living. They want to be able to do their craft and earn a living, and you can't do that on stage.
That's good. Yeah, talk about the cost too with that. You know, I think a lot of the lack of investment is also the lack of understanding of how much this stuff costs. You know, obviously we're sitting in the Content Parlor studio right now, so we understand a taste of what it takes to do a production. But a movie is a whole nother level. So can you talk about the cost of doing a production?
You know, it depends because it depends on your knowledge and skill level. Because what most people need when someone who needs $5 million, $6 million, $10 million to shoot a project, I can shoot that same project probably better, or at least just as good, but I'd say better for $2 million. These budgets have become so ridiculous because they're just throwing money around. We do. I did a TV series, man, and this director had us do 32 takes of the same scene till finally I just said, enough. He goes, I haven't gotten my shot yet. I said, you got your shot. I said, you're the guest here. This is our show. We're the stars. I'm like Denzel Washington with the finger. You. I said, no, man. I go, at 32 shots, I go, that's ridiculous. We're burning money. It's 2 a.m. You got your shot. And Keith Carradine went like this. What he said. Because he's old school cool. What he said.
Sheesh.
And they found the shot, and it was fine. But you keep doing it because you want to find something. Oh, you know what? Your button was off. You know, if your pinky finger was over a little bit more. Let's do it again. Put your pinky finger over a little bit more. Nobody's focusing on your pinky finger.
Oh man, that's
Just
like
you know,
crazy. Real.
But see, that's the waste of time and money. Time is money. It's 2 a.m. We're already 3 hours over our 12-hour day. Which guess what? I get paid crazy money every hour after that. So I was like, yeah, I should have said, yeah, let's do 16 more.
Run it up.
But I was single and young, and that was enough money for me. Now, the wife and kids, I should have asked for more.
Should've.
Anyway,
I know.
but yeah, it's like okay, the project we're gonna shoot this summer, Poison Pond,
Yeah, let's talk about that one.
literally is going to be a beautifully shot film for 1.5 million,
Wow.
and that's bringing in Michael Beach and a couple of my other friends from LA.
Okay, guys, I don't know if you heard that. Michael Beach. All right. All right. Please continue.
Look him up. Look him up. You know him. He flipped the table, his desk over on Morgan Freeman in was it Stand By Me?
Was this?
No, not Stand By Me. Where he played Crazy Joe. He said, "Call me Batman." Lean on Me.
Oh, my
Lean on
gosh.
Me. Great movie. Morgan Freeman was awesome as the principal, but Michael flipped that day. He said, "I will whoop your." He said, "You disrespect me." I was like, "Look at little Mike."
Yeah,
Mike about this talk.
Just go on Instagram. It's a meme. It's already a meme.
He's a bad boy. Michael Beach is one of the baddest actors in Hollywood.
No
He'll say, "Come on, man," no, he is.
No doubt.
He's got skills. That's why I love him. He's doing Tulsa King right now. He's always in everything, man.
I saw that when I was down in Oklahoma. I was wondering about that Tulsa King.
His
That's
last
a series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His last episode, I mean, he just finished season, I think it's 5 of with Jeremy Renner, another Taylor Sheridan show, the mayor of Kingstown. Man, that last scene, I was watching, I was like, into that episode, I just sat back and I said, "Hey Siri, call Michael Beach." He said, "What's up, bro?" I said, "Man, dude, you crushed it."
Like that. No, see, I gotta go.
I said, "Man, you had my eyes. I was a little wet in the eyes." He's like, "Oh man, thanks, man." He's a very gracious guy too, but he's a good dude. He's a really good dude.
So he'll be in the upcoming movie that's being filmed in Omaha.
Yes, yeah.
So how much of that do you see being shot in Omaha?
All of it.
All of it.
So let
So
me
you're
clarify.
bringing over 1.5 million in activity to Omaha, Nebraska.
That's just the first one. So, 1.5 is a very, very. It's a low budget film in Hollywood, but when we say low budget, doesn't mean low quality.
Okay.
You know, like I said, if you know what you're doing, you have the right people. You can streamline, get through this, and we'll shoot it for. We'll shoot it in less than. We want to knock it out in about 18 days, 21 max, but 18 days keeps our budget down. Then I have people that, like I said, you work with over the years. Whenever I'm on a show and we go on hiatus or something, the DP, director of photography, who's also cinematographer, same thing. They're like, "Randy, what you working on in the summer, man?" I'm free all the time, and that's been a blessing to me from the very beginning. "Randy, what you doing this summer?" I said, "Man, I'm head back to Omaha for a little while." "What you shooting?" I go, "Nothing." "Oh, thought you was shooting something." So I love it because they anticipate me doing something because I'm
pretty
always
cool.
doing something.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But now being here, like I said, we're gonna utilize a lot of Nebraskans. My goal is always to bring in somebody from Hollywood because the way I learn is the way I teach. We don't need a lot of classroom. Yes, if you're learning editing, you got to learn some keystrokes, and there's some stuff you got to go through in the classroom to learn terminology, just like with a director. But mostly, it's a shadow program. So if you want to be an actor, and say we narrow it down to 3 people, and then we pick out of you 3, who's going to be the one to shadow me on set. You come on, you shadow Mike. So you watch us do what we do. And after the director says cut, you can ask whoever you are shadowing, you get to ask, "Why did you make that choice?" Or "Why this or why that?" Cinematographer, you get to step over to him and go, you or the director, you say, "You called it a dirty 2. What's a dirty 2?" And you break it down. It's a 2 shot, like over my shoulder to him. Get a little bit of my shoulder and my ear in that shot. He said, or we get a clean shot, boom, slide it over, boom, it's just a single on you. Or we get a full 2 shot of us, that's a clean 2. So they explain all that stuff. So you're learning and you're writing it down and you're getting all this stuff going, firsthand. So when you get on set, you know what you're saying,
Right.
and you know what you're doing. So my father always said, always know something about everything, but know everything about something. So there's a few things on the film sets that I know top to bottom. I can talk about with the best of them. But on a film set, I can look over and go, whoa, 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 whoa. Why are you pulling those wires around? Oh, we were gonna, no, dude, that's not. Let me break something down to you as a rigger or as a gaffer or as a, I know their jobs too.
Know enough about it.
So I think you should know everything. If you're an actor, you should take a directing class or a writing class. If you are a director, take an acting class. If you're a writer, take an acting class. But you should always cross lines so that you know. Well, let me just give you an example. When I was doing the show Girlfriends, I would go and knock on the writer's door. They know my knock. Come in, Randy. And they go, what is it this time? And I go, you read page 13. Well, page 13. You read me. You read Tracy. Go. And they would read it, and then stop. I go, why'd you stop? Why'd you stop? It doesn't sound right. And I go, I told you guys. So as writers, a lot of writers don't understand that I say every word out loud when you're writing it or after you've written it to check the scene. Write, check. Right? Check. Because if it doesn't sound good coming out of your mouth, it's not going to be believable to the audience. It's not believable to the audience, you're not going to get too many more jobs, and you're not going to make money. So it's got to sound right. It's got to feel right. So every writer should take an acting class.
That's a gem.
You know?
That's a gem.
Yeah.
Cross the lines. Every job should know somebody else's job in the film industry.
So how is it possible to shoot? I would have never imagined you could shoot a full movie in 18 days. Is that just having mastery and just mastering the craft, or is that standard practice?
No.
I always thought it'd be like a year or 2 years.
Depending on the project. What takes the longest is getting the project, getting it even sold, or getting it to the point where the script is ready, and then pre-production, and you get it to the point where we start shooting next Friday, right? That's number one. That's day one, ground zero. We lens next Friday. From the day we start shooting, that's 18 days. But we've prepped for a year.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it is mastery, but it's also the mastery of being able to have the bomb casting director who's getting you the right people. So even though I have my choices for roles, each role I usually give about 5 choices. But my casting director is a huge film festival casting director, and I'm going to defer to her with everyone except Mike. Michael Beach is in. You're not gonna find anybody,
Right.
not for this role. So everybody else, Morris, Tay, and the others, even though they're marketable, I kind of move them aside because again, this is a little more than like The Best Man Holiday and stuff like that. Good movies, good movies, but they're not gonna win awards. Like Green Book. Stuff like that. So this one's going to be a little grittier, even though there's going to be some fun in it. And the fun has to, because it's real life, man. Real life is gritty and dirty, but even in the dirtiest moments, man, sometimes it's still funny.
Right.
And that's what this movie is. It's very deep. It's about a young kid who gets in North O who gets shot and killed. But he did it. It was because of his stupid decision. Because kids rush to decisions sometimes. They rush.
Right.
When he's a straight A student at UNO, he's gonna come out and make money. Yeah. But no, he wanted to rush. I got to get my mom out the hood. And this boy sets up a deal, and this boy is this white kid who didn't do good in school. So that's not the norm in a lot of movies. And the kid sets up this deal, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I play the detective.
Takes place in Omaha.
Well, see, and one thing also that I always wanted to make sure that I did when I got here was highlight Omaha, highlight Nebraska.
Okay, I see.
So it won't
Right
just
on.
be a city.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It will be Omaha,
be
Nebraska.
Omaha. I see.
You will see the King Fong sign. You will see us at the Indigo Hotel. You'll see us at the OPD, which we kind of got to move those letters around.
Show
So
some good spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things-
yeah, we're shooting it. We're shooting at my cousin's joint at Johnny T's. We're
Right,
shooting
okay.
at
Yep,
at
that's
Safari Cigar Lounge.
That's
Get
one
all
of them
those
too.
questions
Yes.
about Omaha.
So this is a film that, let's be honest, really could only be shot by Randy Goodwin and Fallen Giant because the context matters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. So how can creatives support Fallen Giants and that project, the creative community?
Well, right now, it's still we've been the offices has been up for we started really building a year ago. Now we're fully set up, been operating since last summer, and the hardest part is getting to know all the creatives who are willing to learn, because too many are not. Too many think they already know it.
Relying on looks, or what do you think is the pitfall here? Is it
No, I'm talking about crew.
okay?
I'm talking about
Okay.
behind the camera.
Okay.
Yeah, and everybody thinks they can act. I mean, put me in a movie, dog. No. Hey, cousin Randy. No. I don't care if you are my brother. If this dude is better that we audition, I'm going with the dude who's better. I don't play favorites. I mean, I have my favorite actors, and I'll bring them in just because I know that they can crush it. But if it is going to compromise the integrity of the project, I'm sorry, I can't use you.
Right on.
And everybody, I've gotten a lot of calls. Our office get bombarded with emails and stuff like that. And some people are talking trash right now because I'm not giving them the time of day.
Oh,
But here's the thing. I gave people a chance. We're shooting a limited series right now called The Foundation. And it's just a limited experimental series so I could see who can do what here. And we do have a home, so it is going to actually air. But we used a couple of guys for the first episode, and in their own right, they're pretty good cameramen. They're pretty good DPs. But we can't use most of the footage because it wasn't great. Now, hindsight is 20/20. If I could go back, I would have brought my big dogs in first. But I was trying to give Nebraska a shot.
Yeah.
And now I see I have to bring in my big dogs. And then a couple people were like, "Oh, you lied. You said you were going to use Nebraskans." Yeah, I'm going to use Nebraskans who are willing to learn.
Yeah. So finish that. You're saying you were really giving some tips for people out there. So being willing to learn. What else would you say?
Definitely willing to learn, but also you gotta have confidence, man. Some people come in and, I mean, look, I'm just Randy from Omaha, right? I forget what I do for a living 99% of the time. I'm at restaurants, at the mall in other cities, and it's funny because my kids, especially our oldest, Chastity would be like, she always would hold my arm. She goes, "Dad, everybody's looking at us." And I just look over and I go, "Oh, what's up, man?" And then they was like, "Oh, can we get a picture, man?" My kids hate that.
okay.
It's not something that I love either, but it is something I welcome because realistically, without fans,
Right.
I don't have a job.
Yeah.
So I don't know how actors can be jerks to people. I don't get it. Without them, you got nothing at all.
Right.
Man, that's
Yeah.
that's the real deal.
So yeah,
So really the talent here is one of the barriers to it scaling, to it being able to scale to where you see it. So do you see yourself as like because obviously people are already making murmurings that you're like the Tyler Perry and you're building this thing out. Do you see your infrastructure being built similarly to that, where it's kind of because he has a training element, a teaching element to his studio as well. Do you see that element there, or is it kind of
I don't
just
see that there.
selectivism?
I don't
No?
see that there. He has his people. He uses his people. He very rarely uses real actors. He brings people in. He pays them less. You know, he does what he does.
Okay.
It's not my model,
Okay.
and I am not following it. I know people say, "Man, you're gonna be like the Tyler Perry of Nebraska," and I take a little offense to that.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. Brilliant businessman.
Okay.
Love his business acumen. That is something you can learn from. His model's not my model. No,
Right on.
I'm like I said, I'm bringing in my big dogs. You will see faces, but my goal is to build Nebraska. So we will use people, but I mean, there's a pay scale that you got to stick to, and all of my stuff is SAG as well. I personally can't do anything that's not Screen Actors Guild. So I won't. And any project we do has to be registered with SAG, and the people we use will have a chance to become SAG actors. So
Okay.
It's incredible.
that's the build.
That's incredible. I had a very, very brief stint with the Writers Guild a long time ago. Didn't know what I was doing. Just signed up for it. So I can appreciate going through the proper process and using the industry standards. Teddy.
Right on. So you touched on it a little bit. So how can we make, what I'm saying, Omaha a bigger creative force, or Nebraska?
Well, another thing I'm trying to do is bring in some of the Nebraskans who have been successful in Hollywood. Because another reason, to go back to that first question, why come back? We can go all the way back to black and white movies with Montgomery Clift and Fred Astaire, and then we get to Oscar winners like Hilary Swank and Marlon Brando, Nick Nolte, and then we have younger people like Gabrielle Union, Michael Biehn. You don't even know who Michael Biehn is. Michael Biehn, look him up. You're gonna be like, the dude from Terminator, Reese from Terminator, who was also Johnny Ringo in Tombstone, who is also in Alien. I mean, one of the biggest actors out there, right here from Omaha. You don't even know that, did you? But there's a lot of very successful people in front of and behind the camera that are from here. And they never come back. They may come back to go to a football game and show their face, go, look at me, but they ain't helping nobody. They're not. I mean, right now, I'm the honorary chair of the VNA, the Visiting Nurse Association, which is a big deal, big event we have on Sunday, Art and Soup,
coming up.
to raise money to put these nurses in shelters and homeless shelters and women's shelters and domestic abuse shelters and elderly people's homes. They don't get endowed. They don't get hundreds of millions of endowments from rich people. So we have to go out and raise it. So there's always something. So I always come back home to do something. I don't just come back home to hang with my boys.
Right on.
I got you.
It is literally, if I'm in Omaha, I'm here for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we even I think about like Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, that born here as well. Not both. I believe it was Terry. Terry was born here.
Terry and Jerome.
Yep. And then met, I think it was in Minnesota or something like that in music school. But yeah, I mean, to your point, there are some. Produced for Janet Jackson.
Dude.
Would never know he's born here.
Right.
So many people from here. Again,
Yeah. Would you ever think listening to Janet Jackson, you were listening to the talent that was from Omaha,
Yeah,
Nebraska?
right.
You would never think that.
Yeah, man.
That's fantastic. But so those are the type of things that support what you're saying. So bringing that. Two things stick out to me. Number one, the talent's already here. The talent's already been here because those names can't be refuted. Those
Right.
are iconic, including yourself. And then we've got another Michael Beasley. Rest in peace. I wish he could.
No, John Beasley.
Or John Beasley. I'm sorry. John
Mike's
Beasley.
his son. That's Mickey. That's my boy.
Oh, okay, yeah. My apologies. John Beasley, obvious acting icon.
Very
been on
talented.
Some big things as well. But yeah, so the talent is here. So how do we bridge that gap? Obviously, with Fallen Giant is addressing one piece of it, but I think to Teddy's point of creating like a collective, creating a space where there's a pipeline. What do you see as some of the things that Omaha can do right now to help with that?
Like I said, they have to be open, man, and stop all the infighting. Everybody wants to be the man or the woman, and I'm not here trying to be the man. I'm here trying to open up my hand and say, look, man.
That was a little bar.
Yeah, that was a little like, okay.
You do rapping too?
I'm not a rapper. But, sometimes you just got to intro to maestro with a nice flow. I like
Wait
nitro.
a second.
Okay,
Cool
okay.
as ice though, This is That's actually from Will Smith. Will, don't sue me. Yeah, the funny thing about Will is, just to divert for a sec, all these years that I've known this dude, he has no idea that I love his music.
Really?
And if he ever saw this, he'd be like, you love my music? Gotcha. Yeah. No, Will's a very talented dude, man. His writing, he can write. I don't know if there's a lot of his stuff, not just the stuff you've heard. Dude has crazy lyrics.
Yeah, he's a ghostwriter, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, man, yeah, he's a bad boy.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, the pipeline, that's what I want to do. We have to educate as many people as possible. And then that way, they know it the right way. But so many people are building things, but they're building it, I won't say the wrong way, because just like with acting, again, never taken an acting class, but I did audit one because my boy, another Will, said, hey, man, you got to come to my class. Man, she's awesome. Still out there, blah, blah, blah. And he finally taught. I went and sat there, and I'm just sitting there with him. And I watched her tell somebody on stage, no, that's all wrong. And I walked out. It's never wrong. It's never wrong. Your way, the way you chose to do it, or portray it, project it, it's not wrong. But that's the point of a teacher. Let me show you a better way. Let me show you how to bring that out of you a little bit more, so it's natural, but more compelling and engaging for the audience. Let me give you some choices. Help you understand that you have choices. You don't have to do it this way.
Right. So yeah, this is really legacy building work. It's the, I imagine looking back in 20 years and we see some people now come up out of Omaha through this.
Right here in Omaha, staying in Omaha, doing it. That's my goal in 20 years. That 8-year-old that I teach right now, or that my office teaches, or that someone that we taught teaches, that 8-year-old in 20 years is a superstar from Omaha, doing it in Omaha.
Right on. Big time, man. Clap to that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's the goal.
Before we, get to or wrap things up, I was just thinking, it wasn't on there, but I do have to ask the question. Just AI is it's everywhere right now. So as far as like the filming industry and acting, how is that impacting things?
Well, Allen Iverson's he's not an actor. I've been waiting for somebody to talk about AI on camera so I can say that. One of the greatest basketball players ever. Love Allen. Man, he's about this much shorter than me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So now we get the truth. I always wondered, because they had him listed at, I think it was 6 foot or 6'1".
Maybe 6'2".
I'm 6'2".
They had him listed at 6'2".
I'm 6'2".
They always do that on the rosters.
I'll put AI.
Extra.
I put AI at about 5'11", 6 foot max.
That-
I'm 6'2".
Now that's the strongest argument for him being much greater than people think
Yeah.
he was.
Yeah.
And to be able to cross MJ at 5'11".
Did you hear what he said though? He goes, he bit the first time, man. So I did it again. And he said, if you look at it, he recovered. He still almost blocked my shot.
That's true. That's true.
He said, but I got him. He said, I had to go against the greatest, man. He said, that's my idol. I had to.
Oh, I got the opportunity.
Mike's like, why you crossed me over, man? He said, if you was my biggest fan, you wouldn't have crossed me over like that. Mike's funny, dude. But
AI, so
AI.
artificial intelligence.
Right.
So artificial intelligence is going to be very helpful. I tell people it's not going to take over. It's going to take over for the people who are afraid. If you're afraid to use it, well, it's going to take away jobs. It's going to take away that job. But if you learn AI, you can do the job in AI. Somebody still has to program it. Somebody still has to feed it what it needs. In the film industry, it'll never take the place of the lead actors.
Right.
Video games, obviously. But the thing about actors in Hollywood is people want to meet their actors.
Right.
Be like, oh man, that was a great movie. Wait, you won an Oscar? Wait, can I get a picture with him? No, people like real people.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to utilize AI. So say, for instance, like this set right here, we could literally just have this couch, that chair, and this mic, and the whole room be set up, and we're in the Sahara Desert. Just because of what's around us is fed into software. You know, the movie that the TV series that John Beasley was in, The Mandalorian. I always bring that up, and I tell people that's not a real world, Jana. You know, they're not in the middle of anywhere. That's on a sound stage about twice the size of this room, and just a little higher. And that wall, and that wall, and that wall are covered in LED monitors or panels. Those LED panels are fed with the world that they created on the computer, and they just project it. And you stand in the middle of it, and it looks like you're in the middle of this world. That's AI.
Yeah.
We've been using AI way longer than people even think. Since definitely before I was born. AI's been around. It's just now the words of artificial intelligence are coming out. But all that stuff, to me, is still used to just scare people.
Okay.
Scare tactics keep people in check.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are fearing it.
Yeah.
And I say there's nothing to fear. Or as the president said, nothing to fear but fear itself. But we don't pay attention to that. And that's one of the realest things you'll ever hear.
Yeah.
The
That's good.
writers got anything to fear?
No, man. If writers learn how to utilize it, here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's still your idea. It's still your words. All it does, I took one of my young writers that I've been mentoring for about 8 years, and I was reading another one of his scripts, and I'm like, dude, your descriptions, they're jumbled. So I told him, I said, you're going to have to utilize AI. Because he said, I'll never use it.
That's the debate.
I said, take that block, copy, paste it, drop it into, I call Chat GPT Gary. I go, drop it into chat. I said, drop it into Gary, see what Gary says, and just say, Gary, make this direction or this action, streamline it and more understandable. And it'll throw some words around, boom, 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 and it's still your words. It looks just like it.
That's true.
I mean, just utilize it. But
Yeah.
it's still coming from you.
Right.
It's still your words, still your idea. It can't do an idea without you.
Right.
I mean, it can try
That's
to make
true.
up stuff,
Yeah.
but it's only making up stuff. And AI is learning. The learning curve is there because everything you put in there, it's learning you.
Yeah.
It's learning how you speak, how you write. I had to drop something to Warren Buffett yesterday, and I was like, I said, you know what? And I had some words, and I started writing because they wanted me. I had to do a handwritten letter to him. He's above me in my building.
Yeah.
Literally.
Oh, okay.
Right up
No,
there.
he's-
We
Okay,
thought you were being artistic.
Yeah, it's like-
okay. Yeah.
Oh heck no! Oh no, we here.
I love it. I
Make
love
no
it.
mistake.
right
Yeah. I ain't put nobody better than
I
me.
love
we,
it.
We
I
there.
love it.
I'm,
That's
I'm you just like you me. We businessmen. Well, his bank account's like this. That's different. But so I'm writing and I said, and I took my words and I go, all right, Gary, take my words, make them more cordial, less heartfelt, more cordial, and make sure you throw Dr. Carol Patrick in there, who is the founder and CEO of the VNA. Boom. So I took my words, 3 paragraphs, and I went, ooh, go back, cut that in half. I want it half as long, nice and to the point, but still with the same feeling. 2 paragraphs, boom. And I was like, perfect.
Nice.
My words.
Right on.
It just literally cuts down the time it would take for you to sit there and go, okay, let me rewrite this. And then you write it and you go,
Right. Using
Right.
it as
You
leverage.
see these debates. People are like, "Oh, that was written by ChatGPT." You can tell that's written by.
Oh yeah, you
ChatGPT.
can. Somebody had sent me and my boy Shay. Shay's the founder and CEO of 88 Tactical, and I'm one of
okay.
I'm one of the dudes up there because we've been boys for 40.
That's where the guns are coming from.
Yeah.
I wonder how, I got the long sleeve on, so you can't see mine. They're about the same size. No,
Oh,
they're not.
you talking about these guns?
Yeah.
I was like, because we have guns. That looks pretty good on that monitor.
Shout out 88
Hey.
Tactical.
Yeah, that's all right. I feel pretty good. Because I'm losing weight for this other role, so I actually feel pretty good today.
So, but using it as leverage, right? So using it as and we talked about this previously. Just AI is a it's a leveraging tool, but it's also an efficiency tool, just like it
dude.
always has been.
Efficiency tool. When you learn how to use it and speak to it, it is the best assistant writer you will ever use, or for whatever it may be.
Because it'll never have the context, right, of a person that was born in 95 and that thing they experienced that one day at school.
Right.
It just can't understand that context.
Right.
So I fully agree with that.
I say utilize it, but also to the young people today, learn the trades. Learn the trades from plumbing to carpentry to mechanic. AI can never do that. AI is not cutting your hair.
Pay your barber.
Right. Yeah.
You see those debates all the time.
There are certain things that it will not be able to do.
Yeah.
So, we need set builders and all that. We need drivers bringing generators and setting them up, the riggers and gaffers. No, you need hands-on to do all that stuff. That's why filmmaking is so awesome, because it takes so many people, and because there's so much money in it, it creates
Right. Like how many
Jobs.
How many different jobs you would say?
Jeez, I said, when I say 100 people, I always say for a real feature film, there's about 100 people back there, minimum. Because I've been on sets where there's 250, and then there's bigger films that there are more than 1,000. You see credits rolling on the
Yeah.
screen, you're like, man, these credits are longer than the movie. How many people did it take to make Avatar? Thousands.
Wow.
Thousands over. Geez, let's see. Avatar was the first movie I worked on in post production. I'd ruptured my Achilles, couldn't be on set. A buddy of mine ran a division, so I got to get into post. So that's how I learned all the stuff behind the camera too.
So wait a second. You were cast to be in Avatar.
No. I was on another show when I ruptured my Achilles. I was playing ball
okay.
with Magic Johnson and them cats, man.
Oh, okay.
And he likes me to guard him, and he's a big boy. Now, the funny thing is, it didn't happen when I was pushing on him. I was jogging down the court, and when I went to cut, because the point saw me, and I saw that hole, and I'm like, I'm ducking on Magic. I saw that hole. I looked at him. He was like, go, and I took off. Pow!
Oh, man.
I hit the floor. Anyway, because of that, the TV show, I couldn't do it. So, because I was like, I got time, man. Let me learn what happens, not just in post production, but in post finishing. That's the polishing. That's the color correction. That's the blending, the putting together of the reels. That's going through and watching a film for one skip frame, or color that's bad, or I'm sitting with Ben Affleck and Steven Spielberg and all these cats, man, which is kind of cool because you work with these people anyway. And then they like, man, what you doing there? I'm like, man, I'm learning on the backside, still acting, but still learning, because I wanted to bring this home.
Man, that's fire.
So
Steven Spielberg. Woo!
Spielberg, man.
Well, shout out Fallen Giant. We appreciate you coming on and having this conversation with us. We want people to be exposed to these things, these water cooler conversations that people just don't get to hear these things here. So
Right.
we appreciate you talking. This episode will air probably in April or late March. So we'll cut this part out, but I just wanted to give you an opportunity to promote whatever you want to promote that would be after that time period?
After April?
Yeah, that
Well-
that you would like to promote.
Oh, can you hear that? I love it. It's just very simple. Oh, sorry. Well, like I said, coming into so we did the documentary on Ricky Simmons, number 7, from the '83 scoring explosion Huskers teams. Yeah, Mike Rozier, Irvin Fryer. Who else was on that team? Turner Gill, Stein Cooler, all them
Huskers.
boys. Those, the legends, man. Those are my boys. Mike was just here again. Well, we did a documentary about Ricky, and it's pretty awesome. We're not releasing it as a documentary movie. I'm using it as a pilot episode for 10 more documentaries of different eras of Huskers who have gone through adversity to show the landscape of football and how these young dudes come up and get into something that they are not ready for a lot of times. And he ended up in prison 4 times for a total of 10 years, gave his life to Christ when he got a letter from Osborne, fell on his knees in his room, man, and just lost it. It's crazy. It's a great documentary. We hit a couple of film festivals with it. Psh, standing ovations.
Yeah, that sounds
People crying.
like a winner, especially right here.
Yeah,
Now
so
people love their Huskers.
Oh yeah. So with
Right
that, the second episode were under the same banner of Ricky's "Look Like Somebody." "Look Like Somebody" is the last thing his father said to him before he had a stroke and died.
Oh, okay.
So "Look Like Somebody" is called Ricky Simmons presents "Look Like Somebody," the Westview High story. We just did a documentary, just finishing it up. That'll be ready after April as well. So just really trying to give the young people throughout the state a platform to be seen, to show their talents.
Yeah.
Especially in the sports world. After that, well, we're going to be shooting Poison Pond. We're going to be shooting Poison Pond May, June. So if you see us out in the streets, we have the old market blocked off. We're going to be everywhere. Roll up, watch.
Nice.
I invite everybody down. That's something that I've always wanted to do, is have people come down. Y'all can watch, man. In LA, they do it all the time.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That's beautiful.
I was rolling down the street one day, had my top down Sunset Boulevard, and I heard "Goody." I was like, who's calling me? Yo! I look back, it was Morris Chestnut. They were shooting the film, and there were the trailers. And I looked back, and you roll back around. I parked, people across the street watching. Wherever we're shooting, there's always people watching. But in Nebraska, all the projects that have shot here, which nothing has made money for Nebraska. In 28 years of having a film office,
you
we've
kidding
made
me?
$0 in film. 0. So they pop in, shoot a few days, they're gone. But their production companies are in another state, in California. They bring in their own people. They may go to a restaurant or a hotel or whatever for a couple of days.
Dang.
But that ain't making no money.
Yeah, just leveraging the aesthetic here.
We've created $0 in revenue for the state of Nebraska in film. That's why my company has been moved here. No longer a California company. It is a Nebraska company, so my taxes are paid here. So every dollar I make in film is Nebraska money.
Right on.
Excellent.
So paying them here from a Nebraska bank. I literally came and set up all my accounts at Premier Bank here.
Shout out Premier Bank.
Yeah, Premier Bank. Chris Osborne.
There we go. Well, this has been very, very exciting. I have to ask you one last question before we go. Do you do any impressions? Can you
Like he sprinkled a few.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. I don't know, because from this angle, it kind of looked like Will Smith when he did that last one.
Yo, hey man, Will, man. Will's a good dude. I don't really do impressions, man.
Okay,
unless I'm with the fellas and we just clowning.
Okay,
It's
okay.
just I can't really call them out.
So so a follow up to that, what would be like your signature, like calling card when you're cast for a movie? What is the signature thing that you're known for?
There's a few things that every producer or director said. When I'm on a show or a project, after a week or so of being on it, I always go and ask, why me? What do you mean, why me? Why'd y'all choose me? Man, if it's somebody that I've never worked with, And they say the same thing. They go, because the other, Blair, they're usually the same 5 guys that we're up against. They crushed it. They did what was on the page, man. They did what we wanted. And then you came in and you didn't do nothing on the page. You just did your own thing, and we didn't even see it like that. You gave us a different option. So I always do something completely different than what everybody else does because I'm doing me. Mm-hmm. And they love that. That's one thing. They love that I'm always going to bring something different. 2, they know that I'm a writer, director, and so I can add to those characters, and I can even say, hey, idea. I'm going to help, especially with young filmmakers. Mm-hmm. I tell them, young filmmakers usually don't take advantage of me because they get scared. And they tell me later, I go, you shot the film. We talked before that. Yeah, man, but I was like, I didn't want you to come in. We got $200,000 budget. We couldn't afford you. I go, I told you could afford me. Mm-hmm. I told you I would help you. Even if just being on the set and consulting, if I have time to be on set, I will help. But people get, they get intimidated, mm-hmm. and they don't take advantage of it. It's not my fault, but that's what I want Nebraska to do. When I say, hey, take advantage of me. There's a young lady here, Kate Pryor, mm-hmm. Kate Robertson Pryor. Kate has she's produced and starred in many short films, many. And she called me up one day. She goes, hey, would you just pop in on this short we're doing as yourself in a coffee shop where the dude, one of the baristas, recognizes you and he's kind of weird with you, and you see his headshot and you just kind of rib him a little bit. I was like, yeah. So I happened to be in town and I showed up, and they just texted, she just texted me last night and said, oh, that movie that you did with us is going to be at the Omaha Film Festival on Friday. And I was like, oh, unfortunately, I won't be here. I'll be gone. But I want to see it because she took the chance. She had the guts to ask. Mm-hmm. I told her, if you need me, you got me.
That's cool.
And she was like, would you be willing? You don't even have to be timid. You'd be like, hey, Randy, you said you be in this movie. You free? I'd be like, yeah, absolutely, man. I'm willing to help. You want to learn in this business? I'm not telling you have to learn from me and not be able to use me. Mm-hmm. All that is part of the education. So if I can step on set and elevate the project, but while I'm also there, I can say, let me show you a different shot. I want you to take a look at it. Still your call. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but let me show you something. And I do it, so.
Solid stand-up stuff right there. That's how you build the culture of creatives. It's all about community and creating a legacy. Omaha has always been a legacy place. They wanted to call us a flyover state, but those days are over.
Over.
This is no longer a flyover state. Yeah. We got Randy Goodwin flying back in. He ain't flying over no more. All right. So that's going to do it for this episode of the Content Parlor. Make sure you like this video. Leave us a comment below of if you liked Randy's impression of Will Smith. And make sure you follow us on social media at the Content Parlor, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.